Hey guys, it's Eric from foundersbeta.com. I'm so excited to have Cory with us today from Compass. Cory, thanks for joining.
Oh, thanks for having me, Eric. Really excited to have a great conversation.
Absolutely. So tell us a little bit more about your startup and yeah, how did it all come about?
Okay, great. So my startup is Compass. It's a property management and accounting software, and it was actually created from a need that I had in my property management business. For many years now, I've been running a property management business in Montreal, Canada, with my brother and my dad. It's a family business, and you know, maybe 4 or 5 years ago, we were looking to really push the growth on the business, and we were managing around 800 units, apartment buildings. And I knew that my background as a CPA, my background as a tech enthusiast, that the answer was to find the right tech stack to propel us to grow, to adopt digital payments. And so when I went to the market in 2020, I went to the usual players, the Yardis of the world and the
Right.
MRIs and these big legacy clunky softwares. And I was just so disappointed to see what a big disconnect there was between real property management firms and the real operations to what these softwares were providing as far as usability, scalability, and onboarding time. And not to mention that the price was an arm and a leg
Right.
for that experience. It got me thinking that hey, there's got to be a better way. There's got to be someone who's trying to do it better. And so I said, you know what? Maybe it's time to roll up my sleeves and start
Mhm.
building my own product. Obviously, I'm no software engineer. I'm CPA turned property
Right.
manager. But I became some type of like no code warrior and started
Right.
learning and self teaching myself on tools like Zapier and Make and Softer and Airtable. And lo and behold, I was actually able to build out all of these databases and all of these
Right.
workflows and this whole ERP system that we launched internally at the end of 2021. And
Right.
the results were crazy, right? We went
Right.
from 1,000 units to 1,500 to 2,500 to now 3,500 units and
Right.
growing, all while scaling our business with more online payments, more
Right.
efficiencies, better customer and tenant service,
Hmm.
and really better metrics as far as our team of what they could handle and how we could keep them accountable. So,
Right.
with
Right.
the great success of this internal tool that I built,
Right. Right.
I was kind of propelled to found Compass and
Right.
try and bring this solution to other landlords and property managers who are in a
Right.
dire need.
Right. That's always great because you started with solving your own problem and bringing the solution to the market. So what was it like after you sort of build that no code MVP? You hacked something together. What was your next step? Did you go out talk to property managers? Did you try to get some feedback maybe potentially? What was it like?
So yeah, like it's actually crazy, right? So once we launched this product, like my MVP, so to speak, we started growing the business and we started having more and more people interacting with the software. So
Right.
from tenants to leasing agents to property managers to accountants, all the way up to investors and developers and
Right.
owners, right? And it's really when we started meeting with these sophisticated investors, asset managers, fund
Hmm.
managers, and they started seeing what type of transparency we could give them as far as the performance of their portfolio from
Right.
both operations and accounting standpoint. That was really like the aha moment. It was like, wow, these guys are sophisticated, managing multi-billion dollar assets, and they're saying we have not seen a product in the market like you have.
Right.
That kind of gave me the motivation and the
Right.
courage to say, okay, let's take a leap of faith here and
Right.
really try and transform this internal tool to a
Right.
commercializable SaaS platform.
Right, for sure. So speaking of building MVPs, what advice do you have for founders? Because building an MVP is incredibly challenging, right? And you want to get something out there to validate it, but at the same time, kind of works too, right? So what tips do you have for founders?
I think the number one thing for me when it comes to an MVP is keep it simple and
Right.
always look back to who are your users,
Hmm.
and what is the problem you're trying to solve for your users.
Right.
And everything should be defined by those two questions, right? Who and what. What is the
Right.
problem and who is the problem for? So, one of the tips that I always tell, whether you're a technical or non-technical founder trying to
Right.
build a new platform or a new product, is really back to basics. Map out your user journeys, right?
Right.
Make a
Right.
diagram or a drawing and say,
Right.
hey, where does my user going to start and where are they
Right.
going to go through the experience in the app and where is it going to lead them, right? It
Right.
could
Right.
start as a login. It could start as a import a lease document. It could make a
Right.
payment, right?
Right.
So these
Right.
are all like very basic verbal tasks that you could describe, and giving you an understanding of, okay, where is the pain in this journey and how
Right.
does my product solve that pain?
Right, right, absolutely. Because I think sometimes it's very difficult to figure out, what features to include. And what was your thought process? Like, how did you decide, like, what to include in your MVP and what not to include? Right,
It's, I wish I had a perfect answer for that because
right,
obviously our product is pretty ambitious and feature
right, right,
rich.
right,
So we do cover quite a more features than a normal MVP would.
right,
Um, but yeah, like you kind of have to balance the two, that your product's never going to be perfect and
right.
you want to bring it into market. You want to have people using it because
Hmm.
once you have a ground level product and people are using it, where
Right,
you're going to go is going to be based on iteration and feedback from your users, right? So you
right,
may
right,
think that feature A, B, C, and D are the most important, but when
right,
your users start using it, they're saying, "Oh, I wish you had, E, F, G, and H." Right. And then
oh, right,
that's
right,
going to be like, okay, this is where dev team is going to start focus on building out new features and new customizations and new layers on top of what you launch. So,
right,
it's definitely a balancing act, and
right, right,
you want the product to be as perfect as possible. There's no such thing. You got to kind of be
right,
in a
right,
live environment and really
right, right,
rely on the users to lead you, because
right,
back to keeping it simple, what are we
right,
doing? We're building a product for users to
right.
solve a specific pain or problem.
Right, right. So, so far you done from what we've seen, you've done an incredible job, like building up the content on your LinkedIn and getting the word out there. How do you like go about like balancing that content with also with your product as well? Like, do you have any tips for founders in terms of like creating excitement for their product, but at the same time continuing to build because you got to do a little bit both, right?
Yeah, no, it's funny because what are we, September 2024? 6 months ago, if you would have
Right,
asked me and told me that, oh, your LinkedIn content game is on point, I would have laughed at you because I had
right.
never posted in my life, right?
Right, right,
And then when I was launching Compass, I kind of said, hey, one of the strategies that in my mind was the right way to go is I have all
right,
of this domain expertise and all of this industry experience. Let
right,
me
right,
use LinkedIn as this vessel to demonstrate that experience and
right,
to build myself up as somebody who knows about real estate, who knows about accounting, who knows about
right,
technology. And then the other thing is just don't be afraid to be vulnerable and be
right, right,
authentic and
right,
talk about the highs, but even more importantly the lows, right? Like
right, right.
people want to feel genuine connection,
True.
and a lot of this storytelling mantra or this authenticity is more frequent now in B2C products, right? Because
Right.
you're going after the consumers and you're connecting with them and then they're buying your products. But in B2B, it's kind of this cold,
That's
like
true.
not so connected environment where, it's a lot of cold emails and, not personal
Right,
touch,
right,
right? So I wanted to kind
right,
of bring what's been successful in B2C into the
right,
B2B marketplace and say,
right.
hey, I'm building I'm going after a major market in prop tech. I'm going
Hmm.
after legacy players, and I'm doing it all in public, live,
Right, right,
unfiltered on LinkedIn,
right,
for people to follow along and kind of, root for me or root against me. Either way, like I
right,
think that it's just a way to inspire people to say, hey, what you're doing can be shared, and don't be
right, right.
afraid to just be yourself.
Right, absolutely. Because I think you put storytelling at the core of your product, and then bring it together. And when you combine marketing and product, it's incredibly powerful, right? It's hard to beat that. So I think that's one of the keys. So let's shift gears. Speaking of industry, like you've been in the real estate space for a long time now. So what trends do you see, and any insights you can share with our audience in terms of where the industry may be headed? Let's say in the next 5 years.
Yeah, I think there's a major shift in our industry. I think that for far too long, people have been accepting the status quo. I was talking to someone recently and
Hmm.
was describing their current solution as the best of the worst, right?
Okay.
Because
Right.
these solutions out there that are supporting property management firms and real estate operators were built 20, 30, 40 years ago and haven't changed significantly or dramatically, right? When everything around us has shifted so critically towards digital payment adoption, digital
Right.
process, the two letters that nobody can go 5 minutes without hearing, obviously AI,
Right.
right? So
Right. Right.
I think that there's a real changing of the guard that's happening right now in what's the PMS, the property management
Right.
software, right?
Right.
So I'm excited to kind of put Compass and position Compass as a leader in that movement and a
Right.
leader in
Right.
that revolution,
Right.
and really trying to put user experience at the core of everything we do.
Right. Right.
And that's kind of where I see over the next 5, 10 years is that a lot of these legacy players are going to be overhauled and replaced by new emerging technologies that leverage customer and user experience,
Right.
automation, and obviously AI, right? So
Right. Right.
that's where I see it going.
Right, right. And where do you potentially see AI play a role? Like you mentioned, we hear it a lot. And where do you see potentially, AI play a role, whether it's in aggregating data or, empowering platforms? Where do you see it?
Yeah, so it's funny, right? AI is like the hottest buzzword right now, and
Right,
unfortunately, a lot of it is marketing, and a lot of it is
right,
squashing, and a lot of it
right.
is simply to get taglines or headlines.
Hmm.
Um, and really, the biggest problem in real estate and in property management and prop tech is that the sources of truth are so siloed, meaning that
Right,
data is so separated, fragmented, and so difficult to consolidate in an accurate and reliable way, right?
right,
So, like you mentioned, the number one use case would be, data aggregation and insight
right,
analysis or automation of insights on financial performance,
right,
maintenance, all these different things for your properties. But
right,
the problem is that where they're sourcing the data is not reliable. It's kind of
right,
this
right,
garbage in, garbage out situation. So
right,
I
right.
think that we're still a little bit away from the
Mhm.
aggregation and insights use
Right,
case of AI, but
right,
where I see today real applications and real use case for AI is really on the leasing side of things and to be
right,
able to automate that first touch point with prospects and leads that are acquired
right,
through digital platforms, right?
right,
So
right,
we're talking about chatbots and call centers and AI agents that can actually bring your prospects into the next phase, whether it's
right,
through visits, rental applications, and obviously lease signatures, right? So
right,
I think that's the main accessible use case,
right.
and hopefully, we can combine some of these silos and aggregate the data in a better way that we can get more and more use cases in predictive analytics and building insights and
Right.
maintenance insights and stuff
Right.
like that.
And next question is like, what advice do you have for founders, starting out? Any particular tips you may want to share?
Yeah, so I think that it always comes back to me to try and keep it simple, right? I keep
Hmm.
saying it, but I really believe it. And that a lot of people, when they start a startup or they found a company, they're thinking about, okay, when am I going to raise money, or when am I going to
Right,
go
right,
public, or when am I going to get X amount in ARR? But I think that what you need to focus on is solving a problem for one person or one company, right? Like
right, right.
solving a problem for one customer. If you focus on that, and the rest is gonna snowball, right? Like you
Yes.
you you gotta just go back to basics and say, what's the purpose of your company? What is the purpose of your essence of your startup? It's that
Right,
I want to solve a problem. And you
right,
solve a
right,
problem, you start by getting that first person that you could solve a problem. And if it works, amazing, go get another one. And if
right,
you get another one, amazing, go get two more. and then four more, and then
Right.
five more, right? But it all starts with that one.
That's
So
true.
like, don't kind of go to the XYZs before you focus on the ABCs, which is
Right,
really,
right.
I have a user in mind and I want to solve their pain,
Right,
and I
right.
just need one person to bite, and the rest will fall into place.
Absolutely. Yeah, it's such a key because right now, we also moving towards more sustainable startups, right? Like where you actually have to find customers, and find a business model to make it work. But I think you're 100% spot on with in terms of like, start with one customer, solve their problems, and if it works, great. If it doesn't, back to the drawing board, right? Uh,
Exactly.
but I
Yeah.
think it's such a key to put customer at the core focus because at the end of the day, that's what we're here to do, right? Have customers for the business. So that's a great point. So next question is what's next with Compass? What do you look forward to? Any announcement? Anything we should look out for?
So we're ramping up for our launch in January. So that's really what we're striving for, what we're working day in day out. Our entire team is mission critical that at the beginning of January we're hitting the market. What to look out for? More insights on LinkedIn.
Hmm.
I'll be sharing more and more knowledge about building a software from scratch
Right,
and
right,
getting your first customer, and also insights on real estate and technology.
right.
You could follow me on LinkedIn to see that. You could visit our website, compasspm.com. But yeah, no, we're really, really excited. The demo calls are starting to roll in, and
Right, right,
just through LinkedIn and word of mouth, right? I
right,
think
right.
that it's very, very low key right now, but
Hmm.
I think that the feedback so far is exciting, that we can really put together a nice group of property managers and landlords to launch our product with in January, and hopefully make a real difference in their businesses.
Amazing. Well, Corey, thank you so much for taking the time. I'm looking forward to your development and innovating in this space. And I think it's very exciting to see your solution to the market. So we'll keep an eye out.
Amazing. And thank you again for having me. This was a great discussion. And more so, thank you for what you do at foundersbeta.com. As a first time founder, it's tough to find, people that are looking to willingly support you in your venture,
Right.
and can share in your belief. And, what you're doing for Canadian entrepreneurs all over the country is just awesome. So keep it up, and happy to be a part of this community, and happy to share. The good, the bad, and the ugly of being a
Right.
founder.
For sure. We really appreciate it. Well, thanks again, Corey.
Amazing. Okay, thank you.